Well, yesterday on the bench we had a 55-inch curved Samsung, and we've got exactly the same. Yesterday's was edge lit, this is backlit. This, of course, was the TV that we sorted out yesterday, which turned out to be much, much better than I could have ever hoped for, because, of course, the prism sheet was cracked and badly burnt up, but we managed to get a watchable picture out of it. And I've had it on test, and it's been absolutely fine. It really has. I'm just sticking some drone footage. On that top right-hand camera you can see a shadow here, but I'm not seeing a shadow here. It's just the way that the curved is. And I did say we're looking at another curved TV today. It's another Samsung. It's another, lights coming on, 55-inch curved. It's slightly earlier than this one, I think. I'll do the maths a bit later on. And the only difference is, apart from it being slightly earlier, is that this one I'm moving now is edge lit, as we know from yesterday. But the one I'm bringing on is backlit. This could just turn out to be a diagnosis video, because it may need parts. It could be a power supply problem. It could be a main board problem. It could be backlights, and all of which I won't have for this particular model. But let's have a look at this particular model. Again, it's curved. It's not massively curved, but it is curved. Okay, let's have a look at the model number here. This is a UE55KU6100. The one we looked at yesterday was exactly the same, but a 6500. So the 6100s represent the fact that it's a backlit model. And so do, I think, the 64s as well, but don't quote me on that. Slight problem here. While I'm filming this, I'm not aware that the microphone has fallen off me boobs, or me boob. So I'm having to do a little bit of a voiceover. But anyway, first things first, what we have to do is to plug the machine in and have a look and see what it's doing. And it doesn't take long to work out that technically it's power cycling, rebooting, call it what you will. It seems to get to just past the Smart TV splash logo and then doesn't manage to have the power or the current to take it any further. So what could this be? Well, I'm afraid it could be one of 5 things. If it's got a T-con, I don't think this will have a T-con inside. If it's got a T-con, it could be the T-con. If it could be a screen issue. It could be the backlights. It could be the power supply. It could even be the main board. Until we start doing some testing, we're not going to have the faintest idea. But this TV does not want to come on. It just wants to do its power cycling trick. The one thing I can tell by just looking at it here and now is the backlights don't look blue from here. They look okay. So I might rule out backlights and go in favour of a power supply. But it may surprise you, I've been wrong before. So what can we derive from this? The first thing I can derive from this, which is good news, it's not blue backlights. And bearing in mind these TVs I never sell on, I just repair them for myself. I keep them in the house. Something like this I may keep as a standby monitor. I like to have big monitors here because my eyes are failing. So it doesn't look like I need to buy a set of backlights for this. And it does look like it's a backlight issue. I don't know if you're coming up with the same scenario. Let me just stop all this flickery flashing stuff. It's just looking like the backlights are not coming on properly, and it's confusing the main board. It's not being told to turn on. So I think the first thing to do is obviously focus. That's the first thing to do. And the second thing to do, take the back off and let's see if we see anything. It may not be a fault with the backlights technically, even though I would suspect one has burnt up and caused a short. It's funny, how can you see how the smart stays on there? Oh, it came on and off that time without any backlights. Yeah, so this, it's looking like a backlight problem, but whether it's, if I had to guess, I would say one of them's gone short somewhere behind the screen, but who knows? We may get lucky. We may see a bulge capacitor on the power supply. It does happen from time to time. This is kind of a weird fault for this, so we're going to be looking at a weird diagnosis. The backlight's not always being told to turn on. It's the main board's job to turn on the backlights, so really, let's have a look at this. It could be a screen issue. If there's a fault on the screen and it's not being told to turn on, so it could be screen. I don't think there's a T-con in this, but if there is a T-con, it could be that. It could be the main board, it could be the power supply, it could be backlights. There's 5 things. So you have a guess which one you think it is. Don't just say backlights because I said backlights, because mine is just a very poorly educated guess. Very poorly educated guess, but maybe taking the back off the TV will tell us more. Maybe it won't. But yes, as I say, more than likely a diagnosis video here. Even though if my diagnosis is correct and there's just shorted one, I will just remove it. A new set of backlights for these, it's quite expensive, £40 to £50 on eBay, £25 on AliExpress. It is of that age where you expect the LEDs to start failing, so it could be as simple as just an LED failure. Let me know in the comments. If this was your TV, would you prefer it to be a clip-on back or a screwed back? I think the majority of people may go for a screwed back. Because they do go back on exactly the way you take them off. With the clip-on ones, there's always just that little risk. Just that little risk of a clip breaking and back not going back on. In fact, in the olden days, when the clip-ons first came out, so many clips were breaking that whenever Samsung sent us a set of LEDs to replace them with, we also asked them for a new back cover for the customer. We always used to make sure that the customer had got the best possible TV back if it was under warranty. We'd hold Samsung to ransom, if you know what I mean, and we'd say, well, the clips are broken on the back, so we'd like a new back, please. And they would always do it. They would always do it. Is there anything suspicious straight away? I know it's not on at the moment. This, we repaired one with the same fault. And it was a power supply issue. Do you remember? About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I replaced the power supply and it sorted it on a rebooting, it must have been customers 55. Because these power supplies are so cheap. But the suspected problem was one of these caps. Anyway, let me just sort of staring at it. But unfortunately, that's what you have to do. You have to stare and just think and remember. And have you broken it before, repaired it before? So, well, if you said power supply, I think you could have been a winner. Trying to remove some of this gunk they put around the capacitor. This particular type of gunk doesn't go brown and corrosive and conductive. But it can go conductive if it gets moist. Okay, well, let me just test now that I've done that. I doubt very much that's got anything to do with it, but lights off. Are the backlights still flickering? Yep, they are. I will take out this LED for us to have a closer look. Even though it doesn't tend to be flashing. Oh, it is, yeah. It is occasionally getting a flash. So I don't know if you can see that, but that will help us. Right, what shall we disconnect first? Let's disconnect the screen. Could it be a clock lines issue? It surely can. Remember the genuine fault at the moment, even though a customer would look at this and say it's got no picture, but the fault is it's not booting up. It's power cycling, boot cycling, whatever you want to call it. Right. No. Power supply is still looking favourite. But let's disconnect the backlights just in case. And the way to tell now, of course, is if this starts acting like it should. Because we're not going to see a backlight flicker. We've disconnected the backlights. And that is still not acting as it should. Can you see it's still pulsing? Yeah, not turning on. So if we plug the backlights back in and we disconnect the power supply from the main board, so this will technically just power up the backlights, of course, but will it? Are the backlights going to go into some sort of flicker frenzy? Let's go. Oh, they've come on. Doesn't usually take that long to bring them on, but they have come on. So at the moment it's looking like a main board. And I don't have a main board. It could still be the power supply, but rule of thumb is if the power supply brings the backlights on, we'll go testing some voltages in a second and see which one it's taking down. I'm guessing it's the 12 or 13 volts that goes to the main board. I didn't expect that. I thought the backlights were going to flicker. I mean, I'm kind of pleased because I know everything's looking a bit blue as far as you're concerned, but I don't. The backlights don't seem overly blue. I think they're okay. Lights coming on. So let's have a look what we've got everywhere, shall we? On one of the main filter caps. Thought I saw some smoke then. Let's do that properly. We need a hat ground. Okay. Now let's just test what we've got here. What's that saying? Not saying much, Al. I'm just testing some jumper leads. Now 3.3 is there. Five was a bit low, but it's not being told to turn on. $12 is there. And there. And there. So let's see if I can get the 12 from behind here. I can. So if I plug the main board in and not short anything out, does the 12 go weird? No. $12 stays steady. It's gone. No, I'm not on it. That 12, they all stay steady. But the TV is still flickering. Okay. Didn't like that, did it? 12. Sorry, I'm shorting it out, but it is only 12 volts. But we're still flickering. Okay. Well, the 12's getting to the MOSFET, so what's getting out? Ah, there you go. Oh, was it? Yes. Let's see if it goes again. Yeah. What about that one? Yeah. So it is on the main board. I don't think it's these MOSFETs per se. I think they're being told to shut down. Was I on pin 1 there? Let me try again. The backlights seem to get worse the longer you leave it on. So I'm just trying again. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I have got a standby light. When it's faulty, it will... Can you see that? When it's faulty, I may have just turned on that MOSFET by giving a little bit of voltage on the... Let's switch on. Yeah, immediately coming off. Let me put some voltage back on that MOSFET. See, that is steady now. Lights coming on. Lights going off. Steady standby light, but turning it on does nothing. Okay, I either did something with the meter to the MOSFET, or I shorted something out when I shorted out, but that shouldn't have shorted anything out. I still suspect that if I disconnect the main board, our backlights will come on. I think the power supply is okay on this occasion, and I think we've got a problem with the main board. I don't think this is one of those that used to have problems with the Wi-Fi, but I will disconnect the Wi-Fi and just see. I thought I'd got the TV to come on for a second. It made a bleeping noise. And the backlights came on, but they soon went off. So we've got it past the smart screen. I think now, I think it's down to triggering that MOSFET. I'm trying to use the remote control, but of course I've pulled out the sensor. Yeah, you can see the menus up now. This TV is actually coming on now. The backlights aren't, but the TV is coming on. Let me see if I can put the TV in standby. I can, and it behaves as it should. I turn it on. Well, that's confused me now because the main board's working properly. It's now booting up, but the backlights aren't working. Now, sadly and obviously, you can't see what I'm seeing, but the TV is technically on. It's running. For some particular reason, mucking around with the MOSFET on that main board has given it some life, and the TV is now acting as normal. It will respond to the remote control as normal, but we still have a backlight issue. So, could this actually be a backlight problem? I need to get the backlight testers on it and do some voltage testing there now. I think what I need to do... Sorry. I need to test the voltage going to the backlights, or test if there's an irregularity. So we've got, it looks like 2 feeds going in, probably top and bottom. And I'm guessing it should be equal. So I'm going to switch on my LED driver, LED tester, call it what you will. I'm going to disconnect the backlights from this side. I'm going to tape that down so it's a bit easier to play with. Well, maybe I can hold it down with a bit of solder. How safe is that? And let's see if we can get a reading. I'm getting a reading of 37 DC volts. But nothing is lighting up. Nothing. I know it'd only be faint. Now I'm getting a reading of 101. Right. 101, and the bottom set of backlights is on. I don't know if you can see. It's quite light here. If I turn off the backlights, do you see them go out? Can you see through this speaker light here? If I bring you further in. I'll switch them off now. No. Switch them on. And they've come up in the holes here. I think I need to make everything go jet black for you to see. Don't short out. So now you can see they are looking very blue on here. Through the camera, they're not looking that blue. That's exactly 100 volts. That looks rather dim to me. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because on the other channel, so this is the top side now, which you probably can't see. Now you can. That's looking at 106 volts. 6 volts difference tells me that there are 2, maybe 3 backlights playing up. It could be a backlight problem after all that. 40 minutes to diagnose a backlight problem. Is it a backlight problem though? Lights coming back on. It has to be. I have to go down that path. And I have to take the screen out and have a look at the backlights. We've got to do it, haven't we? We've got to do it. I will do that in a part 2. There will be a part 2. It will be sent up tonight, I promise. But I've done 40 minutes of this so far. I want to send this up, and part 2 will be looking at the backlights. Okay, but it shouldn't be long. Less than an hour, Governor.